I think that's extremely important to do, especially when information comes out that's conflicting. It automatically offers women an excuse that they're looking for. And I think we need to really, especially now at times like this, reach out again and make sure we are doing and saying what we need to do to make sure women get screened. We'll make one other comment and question, and that is that I think there's another issue that's really been ignored in this debate, and that's the role that mammography has played, not just in improving survival rates, but in improving quality of life for breast cancer victims. And the written statement of Dr. LaFalle, who's the chair-elect of Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation, shows that because of mammography, tumors have been detected earlier and smaller. Now, that is a huge benefit that I think has been lost in this debate, because options to mastectomies significantly improve the quality of life and allow for a faster and quicker recovery. Can you talk a little bit about how mammography and early diagnosis has impacted quality of life for breast cancer patients?
Thank you for pointing that out. And I think from the quality of life point of view, over and above just the mortality argument, discussion that we've been having, that from a patient's point of view is an extremely important contribution. By detecting cancers earlier, one can then apply therapies that are going to be less mutilating and less have less of an impact on the quality of life, and that in itself is a major goal and objective for us. So I concur completely with your emphasis on that particular aspect of the issue.
Well, thank you.
To give you the real background, I feel like it's deja vu all over again. In 1994, the government representative came forward and said women shouldn't have mammograms until they're 50. Well, Senator Mikulski called a hearing, and every single woman member of the Senate came and upbraided the government official who was sitting at that table by himself, just like you are, and said, how could you send this kind of mixed message? We have been working for years now to at least get early detection for women, because that's all we've got. We don't have the cure. And finally, after about a month or so after that hearing, the entire NCI cratered. Everybody said, no, 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 40, we really think that's probably the most prudent thing to do. Women should have mammograms at the age of 40. Well, fast forward to about a month ago, and we see the reports of a study that say, well, mammograms are really useless and might even cause harm. And I was looking at that, just astonished that we could be, once again, mixing our message based on, apparently, trials that were done in 1985. Now, there may have been other things that went into that, but we're talking about 1985 trials, and we're saying, well, you know, you can do without a mammogram because maybe walking is just as good as getting a mammogram. Well, here we are again. And Dr. von Eschenbach, I'm so glad that you have clarified very quickly that 40 is the recommendation, because I know that we have saved lives. Everyone in this room knows that by early detection, we have saved lives. We also have put hundreds of millions of dollars into the research to try to find the cure. And you will be in a pivotal position to help us find that cure so that we won't have to talk about mammograms anymore. We'll cure this, and then perhaps we can not have to deal with cancer of this kind again, and we can move to something else. But for now, I would just ask you how you view this study that is based on these 1985 trials that came from the Danish researchers that would indicate that false positives are a reason not to go forward and do the only thing we know that will allow an early detection of a cancer tumor.
Well, there are two answers I might offer, Senator. One is that certainly as we have improved the technology of not only mammography, but the ancillary studies that can be used to follow up mammography, including the ability to biopsy under ultrasound. We've actually been able to improve on the false positive concern, if you will. So I think additional progress is improving some of those previous concerns and issues. But the other thing I think your question points out is to maybe come back to my example that we are seeing a decline, and if you want to use the number 6 per 100,000 as that decline, one could, and I think the debate has been around, whether it's 3 plus 3 equals 6 or 2 plus 4 equals 6. And there's an argument around the relative value of mammography. But I believe we all conclude that mammography needs to be a part of that equation, that it is continuing to add to that equation, and whether there's an argument among statisticians as to whether it's 3 plus 3 or 2 plus 4, the important point is it is contributing and must remain a part of the equation.
Is there anything, I mean, anyone who's had a mammography knows that you wonder if, which is worse, getting the mammography or getting the cancer. But having said that, is there anything harmful that can be done in a mammography, or, I mean, maybe a wrongly given one, but is there, in general, a harmful effect of a mammography?
I believe that the greatest issue is, in fact, the discomfort and the humiliation that may go along with the examination. But other than that, other harms would be negligible, in my opinion. None.
Well, thank you, and I do hope that you will use your position to help us find the cure, because that's what has been missing for all these years that we have worked to try to eradicate breast cancer as a leading cause of the deaths of women. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Now we turn to Senator Clinton, one of our newer members of the committee, but certainly one of our very most active. Senator Clinton.
Thank you very much, and thank you for holding this hearing, and thank you, Doctor, for now being in the hot seat for quite some time. And I appreciate your clarification. I'm sorry that I missed your testimony. I just want to ask 3 brief questions just to be sure that I can accurately report to my many constituents who are deeply concerned about the controversy and also about the high prevalence of breast cancer in many parts of New York, higher than the national average. Is it fair to say that your testimony today, reflecting the NCI position, is that all women should get regular mammograms after the age of 40, or is it that women should be provided with information about the benefits and risks, which they then, in consultation with their doctors, make their own decisions?
We're recommending that it be a combination of both the performance and availability of the mammogram along with the education and understanding of the implications of it. I believe both of those are important, but I would not leave out the mammogram as a primary part and the initial part of that recommendation.
But now a woman who's a potential recipient of a mammogram really has no independent way of determining the efficacy or the quality of the mammogram. So if I'm asked by a constituent after this hearing, well, what did Dr. von Eschenbach say should be done? What's my short answer?
Beginning at age 40, you would have a mammogram every 1 to 2 years.
Okay. You know, because one of the things which is happening in New York, and I assume it's happening elsewhere even before the back and forth of the last month or so, is that many physicians' offices